Hi everyone, my name is Jesus Gringo, and this video is titled, "The Breaking Bad Ending is Vince Gilligan's Eternal Shame." They're about to do a 10-year reunion being emceed by Bill Burr. The show came out in 2008. So I felt I need to make this video because I have never seen anyone in my life ruin a show the way Vince Gilligan did. And I'm not talking about the actual last episode with the machine gun in the trunk, whether you believe that or not. That is a million times more believable than Jack letting Walt live in the desert because it would bum Todd out. That is the most ridiculous premise I have ever seen in my entire life. At the point that Jack lets Walt go, Jack has just killed 2 federal agents on top of the fact he already killed 10 people in prison for Walt. People that were going to be witnesses and testify all got killed on Walt's orders. So now that is all, every one of those deaths are death penalty cases, and Jack is out of prison at this point. It's not like he's sitting in prison and he's never going to get out, so they're not going to make his life any worse. He's on the outside, and he's committed 12 murders that Walt knows about, 10 of which were on Walt's orders. Jack also knows that the DEA is on to Walt. Even if he believed it was only Hank and his partner Gomez, they're bound to have all sorts of notes and computer records that the DEA is gonna find when they start looking for 2 missing agents. So Jack knows the DEA is on to Walt. He also knows Walt's dying. So the DEA is gonna be willing to make a deal with Walt that maybe Walt's family can keep the house and some of the money if he agrees to turn state's witness against the white supremacists for the killings of all those witnesses and co-conspirators. The government hates that. Not only that, he's stealing millions of dollars from Walt. Jack knows Walt is the kind of guy that isn't going to take that, who's a violent sociopath and is gonna want to come back for his money. That's what happens in the last episode. Walt comes back for the money because he just couldn't let it go. The idea that Jack wouldn't understand that, wouldn't understand the risk of leaving him as a witness for 12 capital murders, any one of which could send him to death row. All of that, he's gonna let Walt live because it's gonna bum Todd out. And after all that, he has no problem shooting Jessie's girlfriend in the head or making Jessie his slave and torturing him. He's got all that violence in him, but he's gonna let a witness in 12 capital murders go, a man he's robbing of millions of dollars, just because it would bum Todd out. You know what the white supremacists would actually do? They'd put the fucking gun in Todd's hand and say, "Enough being a pussy, you're gonna kill him." The idea they're gonna let Walt live because of that is so absurd, it's not even funny. It's beyond ridiculous that the Breaking Bad staff allowed it to go that way. And I want to be clear, I didn't care if Walt lived or died. I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan because I have no idea where the story's going. They actually kill off main characters. When people are in physical danger, they're actually in physical danger. That's what I like. So I didn't care if Walt lived or died. You know, it would have been fine for me had they killed Jessie in the desert and decided to enslave Walt to get Walt to teach them how to do a perfect cook, and say while he's doing that, Walt uses some extra chemicals to get free and slaughter them all. That type of thing I would have gone for without a single issue. He could have killed Walt in the desert. And then Jessie escaped by what he knew. All of that would have been fine with me. I'm not whining that Walt lived or died. I don't care. I'm whining because I'm stating a fact. There is a 100 out of 100 times chance that Jack is going to kill Walt in the desert. There's no way he leaves a witness in 12 capital crimes that the DEA and federal agencies are already onto, meaning it's just a matter of time they get to him. Walt has a total incentive to deal to try to save his house and leave his family some money before he dies, and he can probably get that deal by agreeing to turn state's evidence. And then on top of that, Jack's robbing him of millions of dollars. And with all that motivation to kill Walter White, Jack leaves him alive, potentially getting him a needle in the arm because it would bum Todd out. It's the most fucking ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. And that ending should go down in history as one of the greatest shows being ruined for complete nonsense. And I'm just going to say one thing before I go. He's doing it in Better Call Saul now, too. The absolutely ridiculous scene where Jimmy gets trapped behind an emergency exit only door. He wasn't committing any crime, stealing anything. He just got trapped behind a door. And the only way he can go out is by setting off the emergency alarm. Vince was trying to show like Jimmy was that moral that he wouldn't even go through an emergency room door to what he finally becomes. Now, first of all, that's a joke on its face because Jimmy's brother always thought he was an amoral clown. So he never had that perfect morality to begin with. But on top of that, 100 out of 100 people walk out of that room and set off the alarm. If anybody comes, they say, look, I'm sorry I got trapped. I didn't have a choice. Not a single person stays in that room. Completely fucking ridiculous. Mother Teresa wouldn't stay in that room. She'd walk out and set off the emergency alarm. And if security or the cops showed up, she'd just say, I got trapped behind the door. And then they could go check the videotapes if they had videotapes. That's it. That's exactly what would have happened. For Vince Gilligan to actually think people should swallow the horse shit that Jimmy is going to stay in that room all night shows what an absolute moron he is. That is actually less believable than the nonsense he tried to pull with Jack leaving Walter White alive. Anyway, that's it. I've said my piece. Vince Gilligan should have been shamed for what he did to Breaking Bad. Instead, people swallow that horse shit that Walt was left alive to come back and pull off the vengeance that somehow Jack wouldn't see coming is just so ridiculous. You'd have to be Vince Gilligan to believe it makes sense. Anyway, my name's Jesus Gringo. Hope you liked my first official TV or movie review. And if you did, please subscribe to my channel. And thanks for watching.